Yeah, it's
That's dirt. That should be everywhere.
Right. And so it still is this hard surface that you can park your car on, right? It's not gonna rut, it like totally works like a paving thing, but the water gets in. And so imagine if all of this let the water in, imagine how much different the water situation.
There is erosion though. It wouldn't be.
There is erosion. There is
here.
erosion.
You see here.
Yeah.
It's broken up.
It wouldn't be realistic to have streets like this here, but like somewhere warmer would be.
Somewhere colder.
I'm not sure
Colder
if
would
that's
be better.
entirely. So the one thing that is difficult with these is plowing.
That's what I mean. Because in the wintertime, it's not.
It's tricky.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
really the most
You can make the
realistic.
sidewalks out of it then.
Yeah, the sidewalk. Well, even then.
Yeah. You'd have to have some
It'd be
kind of layer on
difficult.
the bottom to make sure that it didn't shift, because it would like freeze and then
The plows would pick
thaw
them up.
out, and then it would like. That's why you'd have somewhere really cold that has like permafrost.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't move.
What kind of bird is that?
You were wearing the hat earlier.
Oh,
it's blue jay.
Yeah, that one. I had one in my backyard this morning.
That's really awesome. I can just grow on that small bit of land. Yeah, we need some of these if we make one of those like walkways. We need a lot of these.
Willow.
So you can't really.
So one time I got to stay in a place where okay, so this is Willow.
Yeah.
So Willow likes water. Willow is a native plant.
I'm sorry, olive?
Willow.
It's all Willow.
Oh, really?
It's all okay. Yeah, it is. And so, Willow is and was commonly used to make baskets and furniture. And one time, when I was out in DC, I got to sleep in. These people had taken Willow and woven a big dome. And the dome was like 20 feet wide, like from me to the van. And inside, because it was really big, and these were all really big, and inside they had taken a big fishing net and stretched the fishing net in there. So it was a massive, like, platform cabin, and about a dozen of us slept in there. It was really cool. So this is called a woven willow fence. And so if you wanted to make this kind of fence, what you would do is you would come and you would snip off any of those green pieces of willow. Do you see the green, tender, juicy ones? And you can see the difference. Can you see the difference between the living ones and the dead ones?
Yeah. So these are dead?
No.
Oh.
That's alive.
You show me a dead one.
Oh. It's all the ones that don't have any green in them, really.
Yeah, and so how can you tell for sure? Yeah. How can you tell for sure?
Well, if they're not flexible, they're dead. You can snap it.
Yeah. Right? Okay, and so this here,
That's dead.
and so the key thing is, if I cut the bark and I look in and I see that green bit. Can anyone remember what that green bit's called? It starts with a C.
The
Cambium.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so that's the cambium. And what does the cambium do?
More branches? No, it spreads out all the nutrients around the plant, doesn't it?
Basically the blood vessels. Do trees have other blood vessels? How else do they move the nutrients around?
The nutrients are the blood.
Yeah, so that's how they do it, right? When you tap a maple tree, you just cut into that outside part, and then the whole inside of the tree is wood. It's hard. It doesn't really, right? Okay. So this is the alive part right there. So when I put my fingernail in, I see that's green. And then this over here, it's not green. That's not alive. And so even just looking at it, I can see that this bark is peeling off. This is alive, 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 dead, alive.
So this will do like what did just by itself. No one really had to do anything except cut like these. Really?
So see how you can see how they just kind of lace them in, and so yeah, they laced them in, and they were about this tall when they planted them, and they planted them
Did they like
with
make X,
ones.
Like,
Yeah.
these X them like
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's what they did. And so they did it with ones that were about, they were thinner than this. They were about this thick. So they had, whatever, I don't know, 30 or 40 of them that were this thick. And then they just jammed them in, laced them all together. Yeah, exactly, like you see it. So you could, these are the originals. But they're alive, so they keep growing. You can keep harvesting them. And then another amazing thing is that, say you're like, dude, I won't. If you come and you snip this off, you take it home, and you jam it in the earth, it'll probably regrow. Remember that story I told you about my permaculture teacher and the Grandview clear cut? This is the plant that he took, and he just snipped these off. Just pretend this is alive.
so you just take the green ones?
Yeah, just take the green one. So pretend this is a green one, and you cut it with a scissors, and then you take them and just jam them, and then see how they grow so strong, and then more come off the bottom.
Would they become more tree-like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a few willow trees in my house. Pretty big.
Okay, so from what you guys learned today, how many species of willow do you think?
I know there's weeping willows and then there's these willows.
Only
There's two so far, but I'm sure there's more.
I mean, they were talking about how there's 12 different types of plant houses.
I know when I did just in Canada, it was 10 to 15.
Wait, what?
So I think there's hundreds.
Really?
I think there's hundreds of different kinds of willows. And so we've seen tree willows, and then
Like those.
yeah, and so then there's also bush willows, right? Pussy willows. Who's seen a pussy willow? Yeah, where did you see it?
Oh, is it?
Was it a tree or a shrub? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Willows. Incredibly culturally important. Very water tolerant, because you've seen them next to wetlands and that kind of stuff. So for rain gardens, great. They grow really fast. They're really good for stabilizing slopes, like for doing remediation of that kind of way, right? If you have something that's eroding really bad, then you can totally, right? And so this is a really not invasive way of planting too, because other things, if you have to dig a big hole, do you think that's going to make the erosion worse or better? Worse. Right? So with these, you can just jam them in the slope and they'll take root pretty quick. And so then they'll stop the erosion without causing too much more. And then you can weave baskets or fences from them.
I really want to make one of these now.
Cool. And so can you, for an animal fence, like say you've got sheep or something like that, and you need to keep them in, this works. Cheap. It keeps reproducing itself. It just makes more and more and more and more and more. Yeah, you have to cut it a lot.
It's not time. You want a sheep now?
But if you, I mean, so I could, right?
How long do you think it took to make this?
So someone had to go out and harvest the willow. And so if you were taking big pieces like this, right? See how long that one is?
Yeah.
That one? So you could, okay, so I've harvested a whole bunch of these big pieces. And I jam them in here. I lace them all together. If I do it with a couple of friends, how long do you think that would take? Sure, let's say an hour. Give ourselves a coffee break.
But I mean, for it to grow like this after you plant it.
So that first year, it would be like this big.
How long does it take to grow? Yeah. So it's that fast.
It's the fast. And a month is like
Really?
it'd be like sort of in a week or so it's kind of
Start thinking about it. Pinches? What was that reverb thing?
you know how you make that rerooter stuff?
Just like dust it up. So you just grind all that out. And then that.
This makes a hormone. This makes a hormone
Oh.
that makes things root.
How many different plants do you think? Like, how many different plants you can just crush up to make something like that?
This is the only one I know.
Really? All willows?
I don't know. That I don't know. I think all willows.
That's really cool.
But so the best way to make that powder is you take some of this willow, you chop it up, you put it in a bucket, and basically make tea. Let it sit in the sun for a week.
So you just drop it in with some water and just let it.
And then now that liquid that you have, it'll be a yellowy green liquid.
How long would you do that?
1 week.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
1 week, keep it in the sun. Now you have rooting hormone. And so anything you water with that or dip with that, it'll be like a root.
You could just like dip it in, put it in the ground, and
Yep. Water it with that a little bit.
Yep.
Can we make one of these at the garden?
I've had so many people ask me, and I'm not quite sure, but
For like one of those walkways, have them on each side, you know?
I know it would be amazing, wouldn't it?
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Does it have leaves on it?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Wouldn't
It looks really nice.
Like summertime, just like,
It's totally leafy.
that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Lots of maintenance, but still.
But even at that, like, so I would imagine 1 hour in the springtime, maybe an hour in the fall.
Yeah.
How many times would you have to cut it a week?
A week?
Oh, jeez, oops, I didn't mean that. But like,
Like a year.
yeah.
Cut it once or twice a year.
Oh, that's my.
But then as a gardener, you're always walking around with your pruning shears and you come by and you're like, ka-chink, ka-chink,
That's not bad at all.
ka-chink. Done. I almost wore my pruners in my tool belt today, but like, nerd.
I could listen to your ka-chink noise all day.